Hello everyone, welcome to class number 3. This is first part of class 3. I am going to break this class into a number of parts just to make small modules of videos out of it, and then it will be easy for you to access sequentially those videos. In the first part we will only discuss about the two major classes of signals that we are going to discuss throughout this syllabus. This can be thought of as a first type of classification of signal as such. That is continuous time signal, which is also in short called as CT signal, and discrete time signal, in short DT signal. What are these and how actually they are actually defined? As you can see here, uh, two patterns have been shown in the form of two figures in which continuous time signal, a random signal, has been plotted as a graph or a waveform, and also discrete time signal has been plotted as another waveform. What is continuous time signal? Basically, you can see the value of the signal, that is x, which is a function of time t, the t being the independent variable, is defined for all time. The value of x is available continuously for entire time. Therefore, this signal is simply defined as continuous time function or continuous time signal. It is also called as analog signal. All natural signals we encounter in nature are of this type. Of course, when we first think of a signal, we always think of continuous time signal by default, which are also called as analog signal. The representation of continuous time signal is, suppose a general signal is represented as x as a function of time. Time is always the independent variable for a 1D signal, and you can see the time is enclosed in a parenthesis, a bracket, the curved bracket. So whenever you see a curved bracket and t inside, so it is the equation for a continuous time signal. Or you can plot the graph waveform as a continuous distribution of values for all the time t. Now you can always discretize a continuous time signal for operating on a operating in a digital system, for example, or in a discrete system. If you want to operate the continuous time signal, you can always represent the same signal as in the discrete form. That is what is being shown in the next figure, which is a discrete time signal. A signal is said to be discrete in time when its values are discretely distributed in time axis. But once you discretely distribute the signal in time axis, we normally don't give importance for the signal's instant of occurrence, that is time. We simply represent it as a sequence. As you can see in this graph or the waveform, I am plotting the discrete time signal x of n as a function of n. Here n indicates a mere number. It is an integer. It only gives the sequence number of various values of the signal at different instants of time when it is captured from an analog signal. Basically, this discrete time signal is captured from the analog signal itself by the process called sampling. As I told in the beginning itself, all signals are continuous in time by its nature, but you can always discretize that by using a process called sampling. Therefore, throughout our syllabus in this course, we will be studying both about continuous time signal and discrete time signal, and also the system they are going to handle, that is they are going to be handled by, that is a continuous time system when it handles continuous time signal, or discrete time system when it only handles discrete time signals. Now, what is the relation between continuous time and discrete time signals? How actually can obtain a discrete time signal which is not natural from a continuous time signal? That we are going to see in the next slide, in a process what is called as sampling. As you can see in this slide, I have taken different pattern of a signal, a continuous time signal x of t, plotted as a function of time. A small time slice has been taken here of a random signal. Looks like a sinusoidal signal, but it is not. It is something randomly varying. So this signal, how to convert into discrete form? So I need a sampler for that. A sampler is nothing but a switching kind of device. It is basically shown as a switch here. It is a model. A real sampler is a bit complicated than this. It contains more electronic parts, but it can be represented by a switching device that closes and opens at different instants of time. to capture the samples of a continuous time signal to make it a discrete time. As you can see in this diagram, input is x of t, output is x of n, which is nothing but x of t obtained at different instants of time, n into tau. Here you can see t is replaced by n tau, so it becomes x is a function of n tau. Normally, as the tau, the time interval between two samples, is constant in what is called uniform sampling, we never give importance for that time while representing the discrete time signal. We simply represent as a n, that is x as a function of n. We omit tau. Tau is the time gap between the two successive samples, or it is also called as sampling interval. This switch will close at an instant of time, then remain open for tau. At the end of the tau sampling interval, one more time switch closes and again opens. At every interval tau, integer multiple of tau, the switch closes and opens to capture the samples of the continuous time signal into discrete form, and each sample is then stored in a memory or in a storage device, so that the entire signal pattern will be available as a discrete form of a continuous time signal. So this is actually the basic way of showing the conversion of continuous time signal into discrete time signal. Now one more type of representation is the digital signal. Normally we have in most of the discussions only two types of signal representation, that is analog signal and digital signal. The discrete signals in general we rarely speak when you speak of some application. Basically what it means is, see, discrete signal, where it comes, while when I discuss only about analog and digital signal, where the discrete signal comes. A discrete signal takes exactly the midway between analog and discrete signal. So actually discrete signal can also be thought of as a intermediate form of a digital signal. If I want to convert an analog signal into digital signal, the first thing I must do is always a discretization, that is converting a continuous time distribution of values into discrete distribution of values. Now what is digital signal then? Now when you represent each of the samples by a suitable binary code, it becomes a digital signal. I have shown one simple example here. You can see in this, here you can see this is basically a, for example, if I take this first, it's called binary word, that is, it is a 8-bit word, it's a byte. So each of these values can be represented by a suitable byte. For example, this may represent some intermediate value. For example, this may be the binary equivalent of this value. And likewise, this may be the binary equivalent of second value. That is, second word can be binary equivalent of the little higher value. So when each of these values are represented by such binary codes, so this entire code pattern is called as a digital signal. So you have got now three types of signal classification. One is analog signal or continuous time signal. Next comes the digital signal, which is representation of continuous time signal in discrete time. Then when you represent each of these values in the binary code by using the language of zeros and ones, it becomes a digital signal. So analog signal, discrete signal, and finally the digital signal. But in our syllabus, we will be only studying about analog and continuous time and discrete time signals, analog signal and discrete time signal. So in actual practice, but however, as you can see in the next slide, whole of the, of course, this slide is basically whatever I explained previously. I am again given in the literal form. You can just go through that later. Okay, this is what I wanted to explain. Two types of signal processing. Basically, this subject signals and system leads into an important domain called signal processing. Signal processing can be of analog type or digital type. If it is analog type, the whole process is called as analog signal processing. As you can see here, in an analog signal processor, the input is analog in signal as well as the output is also analog signal. Therefore, the system is analog in nature. This is actually quite a natural process wherein, for example, what kind of system this can be? Suppose You take an amplifier, a audio amplifier. It is the best example of a analog signal processor. It takes a low amplitude input signal, amplifies that is scales the amplitude more than that of the input and produces the amplified output. So in a amplifier, basically analog amplifier, both input as well as output are analog in nature or continuous time signals. Therefore, amplifier is a continuous time system. If on the other hand the signals are discrete, for example, if a system takes a discrete input signal, that is sampled version of a analog signal, then produces the discrete processed signal, then system is said to be discrete system. A discrete system is defined by discrete time signal input and discrete time signal output, processed output. Whereas a digital signal processor is slightly modified form of a digital discrete system, in which the signal is digitized. So if you want to digitally process a signal, then you have to have what is called as A to D converter and D to A converter in the input and output of the system. Here what happens is actually is just compare the two systems, that is analog signal processing system and digital signal processing system. A digital signal processor takes purely a digital signal and produces the digital processed output. If I want to process an analog signal using a digital signal processor, first thing I should do is analog to digital conversion. As I said in the beginning, to convert analog signal to digital form, I should first discretize the analog signal to obtain the discrete time signal. Then by using a suitable coding technique, I should convert that into a digital signal by using suitable A to D conversion technique. So each of the sample is represented by a binary word of varying length. In this example, I have taken a length of 8-bit. Otherwise, it can be of any length. Maybe it's 10-bit, 12-bit or 16-bit, even larger word length. These values are sequentially numbered as digital samples. So that signal is then given to the signal processor, digital signal processor, which according to the program which is saved in the processor, the signal is processed and the output is obtained. Now I want to convert that signal back into the analog form. I need a digital to analog converter in the output side. It does opposite of what analog to digital converter does from the input side. That is, it converts a digital bit sequence into a discrete analog signal, discrete signal, then converts a discrete signal into analog form by using low pass filtering. So actually the actual process is a little complicated than this, but that has been shown as a simplified diagram in the form of block diagram. So, but we don't have to worry about all these things now, because our main aim is to understand the signals and systems separately and their interactions. So actual application of whatever we study here will be in what is called as signal processing domain, which you're going to study in the higher semesters in the form of digital signal processing course and image processing course, and even in communication systems. Whatever we are going to study in this course is going to be used for. I think this I will end up the part 1 here itself. In the next part, let us discuss about different type of basic signals we handle in signal processing. Whenever I discuss basic signals, now onwards I will consider both continuous time signal discussion as well as discrete time signal discussion. Sometimes the discussions will be quite similar. That is not much difference between the two types. Otherwise, there will be some major differences. So therefore, we have to think a signal in terms of both continuous in time as well as discrete in time whenever we discuss anything about signal as well as system in the future discussion. Let us now end this here itself, part 1. Let us again continue this class in part 2 in the next video. Please come back to the video once you log out of this particular video. Thank you. See you again.